This poem is called Notes on the Baroque. You don't fully understand what it is you're looking at, out of either incomprehension or disgust. You can measure it only against the vast syllabus of your regrets. Frosted with grime in the window of a bed sits San Sebastian, hands down his stained underwear, all incidental voyeurisms relegated to the bathroom mirror. You head out, dear heart. Phrases carried in you like dregs of tobacco try to consider the face as a body of raw material, the wounds as accentuated by their not really being there, the corpse shroud thrown over the thing that was never a corpse. See, you struggle to smell the thing. That which is veiled, or in a sense the veil itself, or my explaining this to myself as if I were explaining it to you, the object in question. Linger after you leave the room, and I want to take each great man in my mouth so as to recreate the terms of his exile. Be hopelessly in love with a body unlike anything, dead, do violence only unto myself, move to the Hebrides. To drink in a cabin, flick my cigarette into the mossy ocean, quietly rehearse all the times I try to explain my nausea, then die. The new puppy catches her reflection in the mirror and goes ballistic, bounds all about like a motherfucker. I scoop her up and she thrusts her head into my armpit. Rain is hammering on the window. And I'm like, of course, rain hammering on the window like a drunk neighbour. Words act only as something so decisively in the way. Try not to think about when we knew each other better than we do now. You on Humanities Floor 2, pulling that face, the spit of Betty's repentant Magdalene. That is the weight carried home on the coach after the party, wine and hash, everyone telling each other how much they love one another. Conversations about the loneliness of history that were really just about our loneliness now. No one is truly present. The new puppy is getting used to her teeth, loves digging them into my thumb. I am quite happy to let her get on with it. You arrive a few minutes late, understandably shaken by last night's horror show. There are no friends to greet you as you have no friends. You order a vodka, some pastel nihilist gets behind the mic, and the room shifts to a mood of grim resolve. A series of orthodoxies are regurgitated. You have a few more. Space drops its sharper lines to the floor. Someone asks what you made of the whole thing. You say it made you want to gouge your eyes out, but not in a good way. The Lost Minot, Reaper or Catalan peasant in revolt, really is terrifying. Just in his photos, which themselves hardly exist at all, gasp a little. The librarian says shh in the nicest way possible. The two dead boys were playing on my mind that afternoon, both the one with severe learning difficulties, who I never met, who was starved to death by his family, and the very beautiful one, who I did meet a few times. The heat getting to me, I'd escaped into the Foundation's library, where I was usually the only person, and you had met him, signifying rupture in an urban garden. A beautiful little wood cloistered by 19th century tenements, where the choices of wine were red or white. So anxious, dosed on codeine, trying to shrug off the weight of my lyrical antecedents. You'd had a bottle to yourself, then moved back outside to wait for him there because no one wants to be the one who was kept waiting. Just last night I dreamt you as Jean himself, a Brooklyn hipster showing you around his unfathomable penthouse. Slipped away to explore every corner, coming across a new version of Reaper. This time a huge tapestry clumsily draped across the wall of his expansive living room, with the subtle colours that you had only imagined before. You are spying on someone you knew at art school as a curator of some merit now, holding a sickle. Wake up ejaculating. You say, oh wow, as if I was there, as if you were, as if it was you. A hand floating above the room and a silk glove anchors itself to the promenade. On a golden rope tugs gently. The red curtain collapses. The rope, the glove, the entire room inhales as one. The puppy does a pirouette in the rain. I give up on trying to roll a cigarette, and if you were here right now, all I'd have to say to you was, God, people that have nothing to do are the worst. Thanks. The next three poems I'm going to read are from a sequence that I've been working on. Well, I was working on about a year ago, and they've appeared in various places. One of which was the Queer Anthology of Joy by Pilot Press, which is done by a friend of mine called Richard, which is really amazing. And there's a launch, and that's part of three trilogies. No, 3 anthologies that are being launched tomorrow night at the ICA, which is the Queer Anthology of Loneliness, the Queer Anthology of Joy that features the poems I'm about to read, and the Queer Anthology of Rage, which features a collaborative poem I wrote with my one and only over there called Rosie. But these poems are the ones from the Joy one because I didn't want to I was going to read the one I wrote with Rosie and pass it off as one I wrote myself. So this is the first poem from that sequence. It's called The Word He's Looking For. Oh, it's about rabbit. I'm really into rabbits. It's like a weird fixation. I don't know where it came from. Anyway, this poem is called The Word He's Looking For Is Mercy. The rabbit takes too long in the shower, has been staying in a friend's attic room or boiling hot studio or kitchen. It is raining outside or not. It is sunny outside, cold, hot. The room is full of steam, full on January, full on post-Christmas, full on summer swelt. August ready to burst all about like a vexed capillary. The rabbit is formulating a text message for you, or an email or letter or .jpeg or something quietly desolate. Dead animal in a puddle, cherry blossoms. Adding Philistines to his already bloated tragicomedy. The rabbit is looking into the mirror or a faded postcard of a late Twomley, saying, "Why have you let this happen? What the fuck is wrong with you?" The rabbit has made so many plans with so many people, but instead of seeing them through, is walking in the park, jumping in the snow, the heat, taking off scarves, throwing them on, waving them around like flags of victory and surrender. Something in between, feeling the all too long hours slip away like silly putty, and or all of civilization dribbling into a storm drain. The rabbit is dreaming of not stringing out some heavenly dialectic against the pastel pink sky, trying to capture his dilemma with cocaine adult accuracy, packing his bags by burying pages of his long confession in an unmarked grave around the city, because maybe you're never going to call him back. Cheers, thanks. Evening party. The rabbit sits alone by the river before his friends arrive, drinking from a stolen bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon. In his bag are 3 shirts, some pills, some hash, some books, some postcards, a few tins of lager, and a list of diagnoses to keep him entertained on the long ride home. Stuffed into his head are a list of goodbyes, a mobile number, some wine, some pills. The rabbit has not told people that he is leaving, but becomes a little more affronted every time anyone forgets to say that they will miss him. The sunset throws its dye over everything, and the rattle of familiar voices grows louder and louder and louder. The rabbit gulps down most of his fear, tries to straighten out his eloquent ears. A rabbit with no fixed address. The rabbit has been turfed out, as it were, his house filled in with sawdust and fiberglass. He's on sofas, inhabiting the nether space of November living rooms, flicking through his phone at 3 a.m, looking for boys from towns with castles who don't know what it's like to steal food from 24-hour mini-marts. He does not sleep, cats watch him, from behind windows or under armchairs. Their eyes are cosmic horror cemented into darkness by the approximation of faces. He thinks he can hear them saying sleep. His long ears twitch in the cold air as he tries to roll a cigarette, and he shudders, looking out into a concreted garden where he was miserable 2 summers ago, at a barbecue where the chicken poisoned everyone, and a little trench at the back where flowers grow is filled up with bright red vomit, and someone said it was the most beautiful thing they'd ever seen. It's really fucking awkward having people clap between poems, but I just enjoy praise. I don't know, I think it comes from being bullied at school or something. It's just like, fuck yeah, it's like drugs to me. A rabbit considers the limits of desire. This is the last poem from the sequence I'm going to read tonight. I've got 2 more poems, so sorry for that, but like this is the last one. A rabbit considers the limits of desire. I need to stop with the drugs, says the rabbit. That's just the drugs talking, says a boy in mid-scum from Pingaroo. A fan oscillates so slowly it almost doesn't exist at all. The rabbit smokes a cigarette and contemplates the waning ubiquity of neon. He says don't, as the boy's tongue runs up his ear. The boy tells the rabbit where he is from, what it was like growing up, how his mother consulted 3 different child psychologists after she caught him wearing flowers in his hair. Boys with flowers in their hair are beautiful things, says the rabbit. They deserve to be punished. The boy gets out of bed and walks across the room. In the perfection of his buttocks, the rabbit recognizes some sense of redemption. The boy picked an apple from the waste paper basket, says poetry is this. I guess, says the rabbit, watching the sweat and the dust coalesce in the 6 p.m. sun. The rabbit decides to stop regarding himself in the third person. Quit it, he says. Quit it, he says. Quit it, he says. Thanks. My favourite part of poetry readings is always the meanings of anecdotes that don't go anywhere. Anyway, this one's called Hyperlyric. Prone to headaches, summer spent in Paris, holding proverbial stump piled on top of it grows, halted by when I choose to throw up. Our shoulders hunched, mine after yours, such is aesthetic devotion, ergo falling, to come after, colour palette, vomit in an olive basin, mood, school rugby fields in the smell of November. Yes, there is something sublime in shoulder blades and collarbones carved out, deep red pushing through. What's on top of what is already here? Be my sunset in the pale yellow wastelands behind the housing development. Be my bot that sends love letters, my blue bubble with chems at 3 a.m. The party is just getting started. Be my smashed phone and lost in Walthamstow or anywhere really. Be my lies and fabrications, my life gilded with anecdotes. Be my ingenious love letter to a foreign object that does nothing really for either you or the various other objects with which I am enamoured. Be my empty assertions, be my wilderness. It's not finished.
Let's go.
I measure my life by the men I've loved and how many blows to the head I can survive, from either tire iron or hollow smile. When I was 17 and nubile, I typed, please help me, fill my inbox with notes on the cell, fell in love with boys from everywhere, Perth, Hamburg. Fuck your cormorants in the summer rain or childhood nighttime. Sometimes seaside towns in autumn aren't even that fucking lonely. So who are you trying to impress? I can give you every misleading vision you ever wanted, built in a Midlands field, chafed on my thoughts of you, obscene, devastating, etc. No, I'm not waiting to throw myself into a Navy Ocean. I'm not Hart Crane. I am so deep in you up to your gut. I am everyone super fucked up in the car park after the party. I am your shitty art therapy. I am a weaker version of something that came before. You can't wait to wrap yourself around me, as if tomorrow isn't waiting just around the corner. Smiling, delicate, unsure, I am, the age of unpleasant surprises. Dressed for the occasion, as always, in the rain. He spent his last £5 in an internet cafe, just to see how you were, sipping on a flat tango, thinking somewhere at the bottom of it, the heart of the rain, the warm rain, something pertinent in the warm rain, something pertinent in your parting smile in summer, in the source of the warm summer rain and magnificent. You not here, nor thinking of him. You are somewhere else. You are somewhere smiling. Thanks. That I've not shown to anyone, so let's hope it's not complete shit. It was originally titled Sad Blowjob Poem, but I changed the title because, I said, I'm going to call this poem Sad Blowjob Poem. And everyone was like, nah. It does start with a blowjob and it goes downhill from there, so buckle up. It's called Where Were You When I Was Lonely, which is a much better title. Sorry, yes. Something about describing yourself in poetry is really fucked up. Where were you when I was lonely? A boy goes down on me while I check out his DVD collection. I'm bound up in the comedy of all the places I could be. So all about this desert, the dissident reel, thumbing through history like it's just another shaft of light to step out of. And what am I but the sound of footsteps at sunset after work, the tallest coffee? So all about this longing. On New Year's Day, there are big heavy waves, strangers talking about the deceit of memory. I drink 2 bottles of plum wine, haunt the Instagram profile of someone from a few months ago. The first bowl caresses my dry lips and throat. The second shatters the walls of my loneliness. Faces from far away, or maybe an airport terminal cast in marble, drink tonight when home. Throw it all into coffee again. No, booze. Super cheap booze from the corner shop, 3 bottles full, the cheapest. Get royally wrecked and retched into the early hours as if time was a flushing mechanism. How long have I been here? The crude weight of my body and feelings, the embarrassing lack of cum. He must be at such a loss, doggy bag full of cinders clutched to his breast, thinking, fuck, how could you? Or maybe I'm in thoughts. The idea of building something, a brief shimmer in sunset like a wedding ring, thrown across the room, or exposed muscle tissue. Time is here to be lost. Our precious features, given to the economy of dirt, the desert, or watching strangers across an airport terminal. The exquisite humiliation of being naked in front of someone that's disengaged. It's all just there to be lost, lulling my screaming entrails, my cock in his mouth, yet waiting for something divine to take us into its enormous heart, say what's up. If only I had the courage to take his jawline in my hands, tell him this feels familiar, like a roadside service station. It's not you, I'm just sad, always sad, that I'm not there, wherever it is, and I have to go now, but I promise to miss you. Thanks a lot, thank you.